exhaust gas recirculation or EGR. As its name implies, the exhaust gas is being fed back into the combustion chamber. Mainly, exhaust contains H2O, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, oxygen, oxides of nitrogen, as well as oxides of sulfur. And there is also particulate matter, which is represented as PM, and hydrocarbon, which is the unburned fuel, and also free oxygen. The combination of these compounds directly depends on the air fuel ratio or AFR that is used for the combustion process. The main objective of external EGR is to reduce the emission of oxides of nitrogen or NOx, as well as to reduce the pumping losses of an engine. Now look at what are the components in external EGR. The figure shows a turbocharged inline 6-cylinder engine. In external EGR or exhaust gas recirculation, there is an EGR valve, an EGR connecting tubing, and we have an EGR cooler as well as an EGR mixer which is connected to the inlet plenum. If we doesn't use a cooler here, the recirculated exhaust gas will be at a very high temperature to cause pre-ignition of the fresh charge, which leads to huge back pressure in the piston because of the unusual pressure rise in the wrong time. The cooling helps to maintain temperature lower than the fresh charge, which leads to absorption of heat at the time of combustion, which eventually reduces combustion temperature, thereby reducing the chance of NOx emission. Another way to reduce NOx emission is by reducing the amount of oxygen. Excess oxygen after combustion means there are chances for them to react with nitrogen in the air to produce NOx. Through EGR, exhaust gas dilutes the fresh charge by reducing the content of free oxygen by replacing the place of air with exhaust gas. This also helps to reduce the pumping losses of spark ignition engine and to achieve the auto ignition temperature at the end of compression process in CI engines. We use three-way catalytic converter for reducing the NOx as well as to oxidize hydrocarbon and carbon monoxide. And in modern SA engine as well as most of the CA engine uses the external EGR system for reducing the NOx emission. And we also use selective catalyst reduction and lean NOx trap also to reduce NOx emission. But the hydrocarbon, carbon monoxide and NOx emission happens in various working ranges. So I already said the emission is directly dependent on the air fuel ratio. So in this figure you can see that the carbon monoxide emission increases when the mixture is getting richer. There is not enough oxygen to convert all the carbon monoxide to carbon dioxide. Hydrocarbon, which is the unburned fuel. The emission of hydrocarbon also increases when the air fuel ratio becomes richer and also with the lean mixture. But the emission of NOx happens in a different scenario. As you can see in the figure, the NOx emission is high in a slightly lean mixture. It is because in lean air fuel ratio we have more than enough air to complete the combustion process, which means there is excess oxygen which leave behind free oxygen at the end of combustion process. But in air more than 71% is nitrogen. So the free oxygen after lean combustion process reacts with nitrogen at the higher temperature to produce NOx emission. It is difficult to reduce the injection of nitrogen to the engine because most of the content in air is nitrogen. What we can do is supply some exhaust gas to replace the place of excess oxygen or air to don't let the combustion to leave free oxygen behind. But you may also think that we can reduce the amount of air that is injected. If we done this by reducing the amount of air that is sucked into the combustion chamber, it will eventually reduce the volumetric efficiency of the engine and consequently lead to pumping losses, mainly in spark ignition engine. But in CA engine the thing is different, because less air in the combustion chamber in combustion ignition engine means lower volumetric efficiency, and at the end of combustion process we will have lower temperature, so it will be lead to misfiring in combustion ignition engine if we used less air induction. So all these problems doesn't leave any more alternative behind. So the solution is circulate the exhaust gas again. But recirculating the exhaust gas will lead to a number of effects in the combustion process. Now we are going to look at what are the effects produced by the EGR. We have mainly four effects by using EGR: the charge heating or cooling effect, dilution effect, chemical effect, and heat capacity effect. The charge heating or cooling effect depends on the temperature of exhaust gas that is recirculated. Higher temperature of exhaust gas that mixed with fresh air will lead to heating, and cooled exhaust gas means cooling effect. The effect that helps to reduce NOx emission is the heat capacity effect. Exhaust contains water and carbon dioxide, which have higher heat capacity, so they will absorb the heat during combustion process, which leads to lower final combustion temperature, thereby reducing the chance of NOx formation. The replacement of fresh air by the burned gases will reduce the presence of oxygen in the mixture or by diluting it, known as dilution effect. The compounds in exhaust gas may take part in the combustion process depending on the constituents in it, leading to the chemical effect. So these are the four effects that is produced by providing exhaust gas recirculation system. The exhaust gas recirculation system is classified into two: the internal EGR and external EGR. I have already explained the external EGR. A high concentration of exhaust gas will be recirculated into the combustion chamber by using external exhaust gas recirculation in the case of partial load condition, because in this time we will not be using that much fuel because our intention is not to produce that much power. So in this condition, the higher the presence of air will lead to a high probability for the production of NOx emission. For preventing this from happening, we need to supply more exhaust gas. So the EGR valve will be in a fully open condition in part load condition. So as the load increases, we need to reduce the exhaust gas concentration in the combustion chamber. So the valve will gradually close with increase in load of the engine, and the supply will be very low at full load condition. We learned about the effects of EGR and one of its type. Now we will learn about internal EGR. Internal EGR is used in CAI and HCCA engine, which is controlled auto ignition and homogeneous charge compression ignition, to provide the atmosphere of auto ignition or to initiate the combustion quickly. This is done by exhaust gas trapping and exhaust gas rebreathing. In trapping, the exhaust valve will be closed earlier to trap the burned gases inside the combustion chamber, and in rebreathing, the exhaust valve will kept open or slightly open to let the engine to suck the burned gases in during intake stroke or suction stroke. This is a special engine application. If you want to know more about this, let me know in the comments below. And thank you for watching. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel because more interesting videos are coming.